Hi, everybody. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And on this Camper Report show, we are going back to Daytona, where we are going to see a great example of male bonding. All these guys getting together, no wives.
So it's like a gigantic man cave with about 150,000 friends.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly it. And interesting, it it really messes up the stereotypes of what people think that RV and NASCAR fans are like. These guys are very, very interesting. You're going to really enjoy this interview.
I wonder if they ever took a survey as to how many men are at Daytona and how many women are at Daytona.
Well,
I think that could be your project next year, DePietro.
that's an interesting thing. However, the number of women at Daytona, they buy merchandise because they all have their number 24 shirt on, their number 6 shirt on, their
Right.
number 88 shirt on. Women consume merchandise, and it's good for NASCAR and RVing because they have their Winnebago shirts, they have their Tiffin shirts, they have their Alliance shirts. A lot of loyalty with RVers in NASCAR.
Fantastic. All right. I've got an interview with Marsha Galvin from Normandy Farms Family Camping Resort in Massachusetts, one of the best campgrounds in the country.
We have been there many, many times. It'll
Yep.
be a great interview, I'm sure. We also have the rest of the news, Bob. Also, where do we get our news? Not that
Uh,
people are surprised by
oh,
now,
our
but
friends Rick Kessler at RV Business and Ben Quiggle at Woodall's Campground Magazine. Couldn't do the show without them.
not a chance. So
Nope.
we'll be back with those great stories and more right here. Where?
At the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everyone.
Attention all RVers. Say goodbye to roof worries and hello to worry-free travel with RV Roof Magic. This revolutionary liquid butyl roof coating is specially formulated to protect your RV from the elements to extend its lifespan and prevent leaks. With simple application and outstanding results, RV Roof Magic is the go-to choice for RV owners seeking superior roof protection. Don't let roof maintenance issues hold you back. RV Roof Magic is the only liquid butyl rubber in the world that offers a one-coat, no primer coverage and a 10-year warranty. Visit rvroofmagic.com/RVLife and extend your roof another 18 to 20 years.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro. Bob Zagami is with me. And Bob, we're talking about all the news of the week. And interesting because as I sit here in my RV in the great state of Florida, I'm looking out onto a gigantic, and when I say gigantic, I mean huge, I mean unbelievably big Camping World store. And that's our top story where Camping World has released their sales figures from last year and they're over $6 billion. Talk about Camping World.
Yeah, I know that store very well. I've been up there a couple of times, and I joke with people that there's more inventory there than all of our dealers in New England put together. It's absolutely amazing the amount of inventory and the variety of inventory right off 75. And it's a
Yep.
very popular area. You go one exit one way, exit the other way, you got several other RV dealers. So obviously Florida is big, but 6.1 billion is an amazing number. They are the world's largest RV dealer, there's no question about that. And they keep growing and expanding. But they felt that with the fourth quarter sales up, that it was setting a good trend for 2025. Their their numbers are good in terms of profit and bottom line bottom line profit, but also on the revenue side, both on
Yep.
new and used units. Now, the average price on new units was up, and the average price on used units was down a little bit, but not much, within that 3 or 4% range. So they're probably a little bit short on inventory on where they'd want to be for trade-ins, but that's going to come as they increase the amount of business that they've got that they're showing. Matt Wagner, their president, they feel that's going to take them right through the year. And short of any economic downturn, which I don't think we're going to see, I think we're getting reports similar to this at most of the shows right now that people are buying. They're
Yep.
buying a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And Camping World is so innovative. They don't necessarily join in the other big RV shows that are held by independent promoters throughout the country. They're pretty much doing their own thing. Not only having shows on their own lots at their own dealerships, but they're renting civic centers on their own and bringing hundreds of units into a building in in the bad weather months when it's showtime. So they know how to do it. Plus, they know how to grab the attention of the non-RVing owning public right now by having a price point of under $200 a month to get them into an RV. So they
They,
know their work, and you know
yeah,
what?
there's no question their market is first-time buyers, and nobody does it better in terms of
Yep,
getting them in and being able to close them and selling them a lot of other accessories with it. That has always been their hallmark. They have perfected it, and you're right. They'll put 100 or 200 units in the convention center and have their own show. It's
yep,
just
exactly.
Camping World. They don't have to go into the other consumer shows.
Yep. And speaking of finding a niche, I'm going to jump over the Power Breakfast for a second and go right to Giant RV. Okay. We have been to so many dealerships where they have a little bit of everything from pop-ups to 45-foot diesel pushers. Okay. And how many different types of travel trailers imaginable out there. But Giant RV in Downey, California is opening a brand new facility just for luxury Class Bs and overland units, which are generally on the Mercedes Sprinter chassis. But they are developing a store with just one niche, totally different from the rest of the industry. Discuss that
Yeah,
from a
it
marketing
was only a
point.
matter of time before somebody realized the potential of doing this because we had traditional RVs, then we had Class Bs, then we started to see some of the overland units, and they were still separate in terms of the types of dealers that sold them. But what Giant RV has done is created a destination center. If you were looking for they like to call them the adventure vehicles. If you wanted to see an adventure vehicle for the good, enjoying the outdoors, they put them all into one building, and they got manufacturers on the regular side like Gretsch, Storyteller Overland. Now that's interesting because Storyteller Overland was one of the first overland uh, manufacturers, and they wanted nothing to do with the RV industry. They went right after the boondocking crowd. Gretsch, on the other hand, it's not unusual to see their units on the floor for $250,000, and these are
Class
Mercedes Sprinter
Bs.
vans. Winnebago with their Rebel, Solus, and Echo, and those are the three primary units that Winnebago has for off-roading, and Midwest Automotive and Pleasureway. And Pleasureway is one of the big Class B units coming in out of Canada.
Canada, right?
Yeah, and so you could spend an entire day at this facility just talking about adventure vehicles. And
Yep.
I suspect that after seeing this press release yesterday, there'll be a couple of other manufacturers in this country that are probably going to make a trip to Downey, California, and see
Yep.
if they can't get their vehicles in that building because it's
And
going to draw a lot of traffic.
yeah, and the demographic for that is totally different than the traditional RV demo, which would be 55 and up. I mean, these are young people. We've seen on this trip, we're in our third week, we've seen lots of four-wheel drive units
Yeah.
with solar on top, with mountain, not electric bikes hooked to the back, but mountain bikes on the back. And some had kayaks hooked up to them. And you know what? It's probably that 35 to 50-year-old demo because at the price point, it's certainly not going to be something that a first-time buyer would buy. And speaking of first time, if my memory serves me correctly, Downey, California is the home of the first McDonald's restaurant. So
Did not know that.
a little bit of
You made my day, John.
little
Yeah.
bit of irrelevant trivia, but we're going to stop in at a couple dealerships today and just take off this shirt and just be there as a customer and see the new stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
And we're
Well,
looking forward to
you're in a
that.
good spot, Bert. There's
Yeah.
Florida has, I mean, it almost feels like there's an RV dealer on every corner. You
Well,
can,
I mean, right here in Fort Myers, you've got North Trail, you've got Camping World, you got La Mesa, you've got Blue Compass, and you've got General.
Right.
And Blue Compass and General are down at the south end of the strip,
Yep.
and the other three are up here. But um, you know what? You see a lot of units here. So anyway, speaking
Yes,
of
you
a lot
do.
of units, a lot of units are going to be talked about on the stage at the Power Breakfast, the RV Industry Power Breakfast, which takes place on, what is it, May 8th, coming
Yep.
up in just a few short months. I'm sure our friend Rick Kessler is working feverishly on that to get his program all taken care of. It's an amazing event. What did they get? 1,200 people?
About that, yeah. It's, they get 1,200 people to show up at 6:30 in the morning
Yep.
for breakfast, and some of the top speakers in the industry. It's an industry event. It's not something consumers can go to, but
Yep.
it's good to read the reports afterwards. You get people like Toby O'Rourke, CEO of KOA, always does an incredible presentation on the status of the industry. You've got sponsorship from people like Eric Zell, Cummins, Dometic, Forest River, KOA, RBIA, RBDA, Spartan, Chassis, Thor Industries, Wells Fargo, and Winnebago Industries. So they put big money up to support this
Yep.
event. They show up 6:30 for breakfast. They start the program around 7 o'clock, and they're all out of there by 10:30 or 11 to get back to the factories and to their offices. But it truly is the who's who of the RV industry.
Well, we were at the first one, and we were at the last one last year, and it really is the who's who. I mean, we've gotten so many interviews with people. You could just go right up to them, and I think last year, UConn had just beat Purdue in the NCAA basketball
Right, it was right
championships,
around
and
that
we made
time.
a
Yeah.
presentation to Bob Martin, the chairman of Thor, who's a big Purdue graduate, with that T-shirt that
On the
said
on the floor of the show with
"Yep,
1,200 people around us.
UConn national champion." So
Right.
anyway, but you know what? Let's just say one thing about the industry. Um, if it was the automotive industry or an electronics industry, you're not going to see the top guns at that event. They'll send their underlings. But these guys are just regular guys that they're
Yep.
Midwest guys, most of them. No egos.
Nope.
They're multi-millionaires, but they're still regular old guys.
Yep. That's the one thing that I really like about the RV industry and the outdoor hospitality industry,
Yep,
the campgrounds. Yep.
same thing. So that's the news of the week. We've got two great features with Daytona and our friends up at Normandy Farms. Stay with us because this is what?
The Camper Report Show.
We are at the world capital of racing. We're at Daytona International Speedway. We're in the infield, and we're here with
Frank Rizzo.
and
Hunter Smith.
Hunter Smith. They knew their name right on what do you call it? Right on cue.
Right on the spot.
So we've got a couple other guys with us. They're out cooking chicken, and the other guy's trying to get the
Starlink going.
Starlink going. But you guys have done this man trip for how many years now, is it, guys?
Over 10?
Oh yeah, at least 10
Yeah.
Over 10 years. Why do you do this?
Memories.
to get away from the ladies.
I said the canned answer, and you said the real answer.
My bad. It's a weekend away from the hustle and bustle. Unleash, have fun.
Okay. So, tell me your first name again.
Hunter.
Hunter, you told me that you grew up watching this as a little kid, and your family was one of the
Correct.
first groups of people out in when this race used to be a couple blocks over on the lake, on the
On
lake,
the
on the
big,
ocean.
The big Atlantic Lake over there, yeah. My great-grandfather built one of the first 3 houses in Ponce Inlet, which were the only 3 houses in the infield of the original race when they would go north on the beach and south on A1A. We had, if you look at the pictures from back in the day, there was 3 houses. We were the furthest one north, and been part of racing in NASCAR since the inception of it, and been coming to this track since I was probably 5-6 years old. Sat in De Palma Tower.
And you're still in the infield.
Still in the infield. Loving it.
So the camaraderie is kind of the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, you got 4 guys here. One's out doing chicken, and one guy's doing the Starlink. But same 4 guys every year.
Every year.
And you said you grew up together, right? In Winter Haven, Florida.
Correct. Big city.
Former spring training home of the Boston Red Sox.
That's right.
The Bo Sox.
The Bo Sox.
That's
Yeah,
right.
back in
Okay.
the Jim Rice days.
I just happen to be wearing my
There it is.
Red Sox
Absolutely.
shirt tonight.
That's right.
Swax. I want to say it's the Swax.
And I think you'd agree with me that NASCAR, friends in NASCAR are so easy to make, because I was coming through the tunnel and your friend dropped somebody off, and I said, hey, you going back in there? He goes, yeah, hop on. I said, well, I'm going to the pits. And he said, come on, we'll take you there. And he dropped me off, and you guys said, look, he picked somebody up on the way back. And we
That's
just
right.
started a conversation.
Good people being
That's
good
right.
people.
But you said there's other friends here that you hang out with once a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've met them here and hang out with them every year, and always look forward to seeing them again and catching up. And
Probably would have never met these people if it wasn't for the race.
that's right. That's right.
Come here once
So-
a year and hang out with them for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And wait another year and hang out with them for another 4 or 5 days.
And you're living in this camper
That's
for
pretty
the
much
few days,
for the
and
next 4 or
you
5
Yeah,
guys are
and
roughing
that's
it, right?
interesting.
Roughing it.
You're
Yeah,
roughing
yeah,
it.
well,
Okay, this is not the luxury life.
It's no tent, but it's also not the Ritz-Carlton either.
Okay.
That's right.
So, what would you say to other people that, said, "Oh man, I'd love to do that infield thing at Daytona, but they haven't pulled the, shouldn't say pull the trigger. You can't use those terminology anymore."
That's true.
Well, no, they just need to do it. You only live once. Get out here, do it, and you know what? You're going to fall in love with it, and you'll be back again the following year. I can promise you that right now.
Hunter told me that he's an insurance guy. What do you do, sir?
I do refrigeration work.
Refrigeration work. So you give us the cold shoulder.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
You just came up with that right off the cuff.
And your colleague out there owns a pool and a grill company.
Correct.
And the 4th guy from up north.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he's
born-
insurance.
He was lived down in Winter Haven, but he also moved up to Lenore, North Carolina, and he is a State Farm agent up there.
Okay. Not a state trooper, but a state farm agent.
He's a trooper, all right.
He's a trooper.
So when do you get here? When do you get here? How do you plan
Today.
your trip?
We
got
get here
here-
today.
Today's
No,
Thursday, right?
We get here on Thursday. We leave Monday morning.
Okay. What if the races move? Do you
Depends.
like last year? If the races
Depends on if
moved to
duty
Monday?
calls and
If the race moved?
Well, because of weather, like last year.
Well, that was last year. Yeah, so we went to the casino where they used to do the Greyhound racing, and we spent the weekend there. How about that?
y'all lost a lot of money. I won a lot.
I was the supervisor. I just kind of watched y'all lose money, and that's fun to me. And then we went to the flea market, which was really cool. Anyway,
Why not?
yeah, why not? So
Okay.
we
Lots
did
of things
that.
to do in Daytona if it's not racing.
So when
yeah.
you're here on the infield, you've got kind of a front row seat for all these cars going by.
People watch. That's right.
And you can see some characters, huh?
A few.
Yeah, and sometimes we are the characters. But yes. So this is a
110%.
great spot because the wheelbarrow racing is right there. So that's like free entertainment. And
And if you don't know what wheelbarrow racing is, it's exactly what you think it is.
yeah, and
It is.
so that's really fun. And so yeah, I remember it's been probably 3-4 years ago. There was a guy that wrecked. So they were doing the wheelbarrow racing, and he did an endo and flipped over and busted up his hand.
They call that butt
And-
over tea.
Oh, and so
There's other terminology
Censored.
for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what do you know? They took him, just like when a race car driver gets hurt, they took him to the infield care center and they stitched him up. He slashed his hand open on a wheelbarrow. They stitched him up, wrapped him up, and you won't believe this, it was like 2 hours later, that joker was right back in the wheelbarrow with his bandaged up hand up you had to keep it above, keep it
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
And there he is, right back wheelbarrow racing with his hand up above his head, all wrapped up from the infield care center.
And wouldn't you know it, he won.
He probably won, but
Yep.
it's just it's things like that where, like, how do you put a price
Making
on
memories.
that? Like, just
Can't do that.
It's so funny.
You can't do that.
It's just good,
And
clean,
sure-
fun humor, just lifetime of stories, clean-ish.
I'm sure clean-ish. I'm sure you'd agree
But,
that you run into characters of all different
all
backgrounds, walks of life, right?
backgrounds, and
Everybody.
honestly, it's just like I say, it's good, clean, fun, just laughing. We usually go to bed with sore abs from laughing, just from all the memories.
And we should tell people that we're not adding a fake background to this. There is a race going on right behind us.
That's happening.
Right.
We're between the first and second turn. Those cars are doing what, 180?
At least,
180
yeah.
miles an hour, and
Yeah.
we're here drinking beer and
No,
having chicken and that kind
Wait a
of
minute,
thing.
let me do a shameless plug. This is a Mulling Insurance Cup with 0 beer in it.
What was the
There-
name?
yeah, no.
What was the name of the company again?
Mulling Insurance.
Okay.
Our insurance agency in Auburndale, Florida, Polk County. If anybody needs any
Auburndale.
insurance,
That's right where Margaritaville is.
yes, sir, it is.
Margaritaville.
There's a great Margaritaville location in Auburndale.
I'm in Margaritaville, the campground.
Yeah, I played music there. We were talking about that earlier. It's a phenomenal place.
So,
Rest in peace, Mr. James Buffett.
Oh, James Buffett.
If you know him like I do, you go with
Okay.
James.
No.
so we want to say thank you to these guys for taking time from their busy day.
Absolutely.
We should say that you're infield guys. You don't even go out. You don't even go out into the bleachers and watch the show.
No.
Used to.
No. The show's here.
This
The
is way
show
more
is
fun.
here. Okay. We'll have to come back during a daytime to watch a little more activity and add a little more to this
There we
video.
go.
It's perfect.
Okay, this is the Camp Report Show.
All right, welcome back everybody to the Camper Report Show, and my special guest this morning is Marsha Galvin at Normandy Farms Family Camping Resort. By far, always one of the top 10 campgrounds in the country, no matter who does the survey, no matter who does it. How do you do it, Marsha?
We have the right people and they all like what they do. It's just a matter of passion. If it honestly, we've got a great group of people that work with us. And if it wasn't for them just kind of doing what they're doing, we wouldn't have what we have.
You really do have a great group of people. Now you've been closed for 4 months out of the year. So and I'm sure they don't just all go to Florida and sit on the beach for 4 months. It's New England, you got work to do. So what was keeping your staff busy the last 4 months?
Wow. Well, we're building a new splash pad. So that is going down by the pool area. So we've refurbished the pool decks, pool 3 and 4, refurbished pool 3, and built a whole new splash pad. So the guys have been working with the contractors on that. We finished a barn, so we're going to be able to have 5 more horses down at the farm. So, and we're looking actually to add some horseback riding across the street at the state forest. So that's coming in the works. We've been, redoing our manuals and cleaning every building from top to bottom. So everything looks brand new when all the guests come back. So we've been busy, but enjoy time off.
and you do have loyal guests, because this is as far as the campground. Well, let you give the history of the farm and the campground, because it's amazing. And I was happy to hear this morning that you are in fact on the National Register of Historic Places. So maybe go all the way back that far.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see. History lesson. Our ancestors came over from France, and this land that we're on originally was farmland back in the 1700s, and so it was repurposed year over year and generation over generation. To that point, we farmed the land all the way up to the mid 60s. And my dad and my grandfather and my aunt and uncle, that's what we did. And we rented snowmobiles. So those were 2 things that we did before we became a campground. But in 1971, my dad had written a business plan to start 25 campsites on the farm. My grandfather was a truck driver, and was an avid Airstreamer as well. So he had traveled a lot back and forth from the country, and there really weren't any campgrounds in this area. So he said, why don't we start a small campground on the farm? And 54 years later, here we are. 25 sites to 400 sites and 7 generations to 10 generations. So we're going to keep going if we can.
Yeah, it's the loyalty of your guests is amazing. I mean, it's this gigantic family of people because it is a fun place, and you drive into the campground, and it's kind of like going into Disney World. It's
Yeah.
just that kind of a comfortable place. And now you, like I say, you got the 10th generation coming along. That I don't think we have many campgrounds in New England or in the country that could speak that highly of continuous family engagement in this whole process. Now
Yeah.
you get a lot of rallies and large groups that come down there because you have so many amenities. You know, people often refer to it as a day spa. I mean, you got talk about some of the amenities that you might not find at a typical campground.
Well, we have a wellness center, so you can book a massage with our massage therapist, Jen. She's fantastic. She did over 600 massages last year in our wellness center, so she's highly rated. But along with that, we've got the indoor pool, sauna, spas. We've got a fitness center. We just built a meditation garden and labyrinth in the back of the park. So that's going to be brand new this year. And we're going to be doing outdoor meditation classes and outdoor yoga classes. So we're going to be getting in more to the health and wellness that way.
That's beautiful. I have to ask you because I've never gotten a massage down there. Actually, I've never gotten a massage anywhere,
Oh,
but that's beside the point. You said your massage therapist's name is Jen.
yes.
And when I had my imaging company down there, I had um, a young lady that worked part-time for us. Her name was Jen Sharple, and her mother worked for us. By any chance, is that the same person?
No,
Oh,
no.
that would have been a
That
surprise. 'Cause
was, right.
she was great. I remember one day what I did. We were very busy, and I kind of shut the operations down in the afternoon. And I brought Jen in, and she gave all my employees massages on a Friday afternoon. Then we sent them home.
Was.
But you know yourself, that's the key is the people.
Well, 100%.
Everybody in your operation, everybody has that same attitude.
Yeah.
So you must do continuous training. It's difficult in today's age. You hear so many complaints about employees. You never hear a complaint about Normandy Farms or your employees. So how
No.
do you build that in? Because I think that's part of your responsibility also, right?
It is. It's all my responsibility because my responsibility basically is taking care of the team, and the team's responsibility is to take care of the guests. So if our team is happy and having fun and enjoying themselves, then our guests just by osmosis love it. They love it, you know. So my job is to make sure that everyone is happy. And, and to do that, there's a lot of different ways that we do that. We have a lot of internal fun things that we do. But we have a lot of, like you said, loyalty. And I think family was the key of the word that you said, because we treat our employees like they're part of the family. Once they join their team, they've joined our family, our extended family, and we get to know them. We support them in other things outside of work. We say hi on a first name basis. How's your spouse? That kind of thing. We really do invest on a daily basis, just getting to know them and supporting them. I think that goes a long way.
And it's also well known in the area that this is the place that you want to work if you're a college student in the summer. And so your employees find you more employees, or they have they bring their kids in during college. You got multiple generations. Not only do you have multiple generations of guests, you have multiple generations of employees.
Yes, we have so many siblings that work here. Like one will come in and then they'll be like, I have my brother, my sister, and we'll hire, they're just great kids. If one of them's a good kid, all three of them are going to be good kids because they all came from the same family. We've got so many of those. It's wonderful.
So it must be great when a guest comes up to the office and they see a name tag or something and say, well, my father used to camp here and my mother and father, and it had the same name, and so that mother and father had the employees' mother and father, and then you drop down generations.
Yeah, 100%. We have seasonals when we first opened that their grandchildren are now working for us. And that's some of their, the brothers and sisters that are all here. So it's just gone down. Yeah, it's
I
really
know
good.
you're very active on the national stage also. What do you see for campgrounds over the next few years? We've come out of the recession. We got a new administration in Washington. People are pretty upbeat. We're starting to see the economy come back. How do you think it's going to impact your business this year and the other campgrounds as we look out there for the next, say, 3 or 4 years?
I think, Bob, that we've got NCA coming up, and I know you and John are going to be guest speakers talking about what's happening in the world today in camping.
That's
Um,
right.
I think we're on the same page because I think what people are looking for is nostalgia, back to when I was, that kind of thing. And what the challenge is for campground owners is costs, because our costs are rising, all of the costs, and we still need to keep camping an affordable option for guests. And then insurance. We've seen some wacky things going on with insurance companies and campground related, that has us concerned, because there's going to be a point where, it's going to be hard for campgrounds to find insurance for what they want to offer the guests, because is it an amusement park or is it a campground, and we're coming into that level of
Wow.
what campgrounds are offering,
Yeah.
and what guests are expecting. So what we're doing is we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back to the farm, kids riding bikes, keeping it, old school, so to speak, because, and unfortunately, Bob, we've had to remove our bike park. And that was we were one of the first parks that had a bike park and it was so successful and we had
It was huge.
loved it,
Yeah.
huge. But insurance chopped that right off. And so unfortunately, that's not going to open this year, but we're going to be putting pickleball courts in instead. So the land, will still be purposeful. But, insurance is dictating a lot. And I think that campground owners are starting to really perk up their ears and pay attention because it's really, it's putting some handcuffs on campgrounds, I think.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's in every kind of a business, every kind of a location, whether it's real estate or commercial, and the liabilities you just don't know. And you're right. I think there is a wave towards going back to the way things used to be without the pressures. It's just crazy. People go on vacation and they don't vacate, they don't recreate because there's so many other things in their lives. But they really want that respite. They really want that place that they can go and not have to worry about those things. And of
Mhm.
course, you've got the base model perfected. So now you just give them what they want this year and next year. But that's a good strategy
Yeah.
because yeah, it'll be a topic certainly at NCA when the owners all get together. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're looking forward to it. John and I haven't been back for a couple of years, so it's
Awesome. Thank you.
nice of Cindy to invite us.
Nice.
All right, our guest this morning has been Masha Galvin with Normandy Farms Family Camping Resort, and I can't believe people haven't heard about it, but go to normandyfarms.com and check it out, make your reservations, and see one of the best campgrounds in the country. Any closing thoughts, Masha?
Uh, I hope everybody has a fantastic year this year. We talk about it at the end of the year as like 2025 was just amazing. And that's what I hope for everybody. So
All right, take care, have a great summer, and I will see you at the NCA.
sounds good, Bob. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.